a retro gamer and hobbyist artist with a lot of nerve. Crolister, the master opponent. Hi guys, Crolister here with the second episode of the Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl Let's Play. This will take us from the first gym to the second gym. So, let's go. Since the game doesn't actually show the title screen first starting it up, I figured I'd show it in this episode of the playthrough. Random bonus fact, ILCA stands for I Love Computer Arts. And for a studio that claims to love computer arts, they sure developed this game like they didn't know what they were doing. I also find it interesting that the music that plays on the press start screen, or press A screen in this case, and the opening part of, the opening video is based on the Hall of Origin, even though the Azure Flute didn't officially get distributed in the original Diamond and Pearl. It did in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, as a present for playing Pokemon Legends Arceus. Then we got this scene where it shows each of the different starters in soothing backgrounds. There's Hasty Berry running in the background. Then, this is supposed to be Mount Coronet Summit, where, Distortion is happening. 'Cause, you know, the legendary Pokemon. Since I'm playing Shining Pearl, I'll be getting Palkia. In Brilliant Diamond, you obviously get Dialga. I also like how the diamond refers to Dialga's chest plate, and the pearl refers to Palkia's pauldrons. Alright, so in the previous episode, we did the first gym in Oreburgh City. I'm going to show you some details as well. You can get a Great Ball, a Dust Ball, and a Heal Ball by talking to certain people in these houses. In this house that I just pointed at, there is an in-game trade where you can trade your Machop for an Abra. And on your way back out, you run into Barry, and he talks a bit here. Hasty little blonde. Alright, let's head back to Jubilee City. At the top of the city, before you progress, you're gonna have an encounter, your first encounter in the game with Team Galactic. You can see Rowan and Dawn are having a encounter with them. And then we're gonna battle them. Alongside Dawn, no less. So we got a Zubat and a Wurmple. Luxia will make short work of the Zubat. Dawn gets the starter that has the type disadvantage against the one you choose. That'll do. I'm not using Staraptor as an actual Pokemon in the playthrough. I'm just keeping Staravia in my party until it does evolve. I evolved my Zubat all the way into a Crobat recently, after I got the second gen badge. And Crobat's the flying type I'm actually going to use in the playthrough, as I did in my original Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl playthroughs. So after you help Rowan and Dawn, you encounter this battle girl that'll talk to you immediately. She says her name is Bebe, and she is the manager of the Pokemon storage system in the Sinnoh region. You are given ball capsules, which you can put stickers on to personalize your intro effects for your Pokemon if you want. And from the Pokemon screen, from the pause, you can also go directly to your boxes by pressing R. I also want to show you this. This is easy to miss. In the Pokage building, talk to the businessman after you beat Roark and get the coal badge to get a Pokage app, the memo pad. He'll give you another app after you get the third gym badge. Now, even though you can go to your boxes at will, there are some common sense places where it will not work, like during the Elite Four and during, actual competitive battle scenes. So, at least have some common sense in you. Like usual, I will be skipping over a bunch of different battles, showing only more important ones. So the video's not, over an hour long, or not that much over an hour long. That last only had a Bidoof. Wasn't really worth it anyway. This youngster has a Magikarp and a Starly. Of course, the Starly has Quick Attack, so... I caught a Budew just then. It's a baby form they gave to Roselia, a Gen 3 Pokemon. It has an awesome Evolve form as well with Roserade. I used the Roserade in my original playthrough. Except my original playthrough was a Chimchar playthrough. This is a Turtwig one. That last has a Budew, interestingly. Alright, we're just gonna go right through the Ravaged path then. There are a few more trainers we fight along here, and some items we can get as well. We got an Aroma Lady. That's not going to be good for Luxio to go up against. She has a Budew and a Cherubi. Here's an Awakening. We got Budcatcher. He has a Kricketot and a Wurmple. And then right here we have a double battle. Both of them have a Pachirisu. which is easily one of the most annoying early game Pokemon to battle against, because they're notorious for priority moves, like Quick Attack and Baby Doll Eyes. Bullet Seed. I taught that to my Grottle. It's a pretty good anti-sturdy move, with, grinding against Pokemon like Geodude and Onix in the wild. I completely forgot about these before I started this Let's Play. Did you see the gentleman and madam here? These give you presents for playing other Pokemon games on the Switch. If you play Let's Go Pikachu or Eevee, you can get a Mew. And if you played Sword or Shield, you can get a Jirachi. So I was able to use a Jirachi in my OG Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl playthroughs. I never played or planned to play Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, so whatever. In the flower shop, you want to talk to this lass right here, and she'll give you the Spray Duck, which is the Sinnoh region's watering bucket for cultivating berries. And we can start picking berries right now. If you're good at keeping a punctual schedule, you can cultivate berries to get even more from one. Rarer berries take more days to fully bloom, and in turn require more watering attention. And I enjoy doing that in some of the Pokemon games. We cannot progress north yet because Team Galactic is causing trouble here. As you can see. So we're gonna go back to Floroma Town and try going into the meadow. There's a girl in one of the houses that gives you a technical machine for the move Pluck, a moderately powerful flying type move that steals and eats the opponent's berry. I taught that to my now Crobat. So in the meadow, you got some Team Galactic grunts harassing a meadow guy, and you battle them. This is not a double battle. You battle one, and then you battle the other immediately without getting a chance to save in between. The first grunt has a Wurmple and a Silcoon. Like that's gonna be a threat at all. And the other one just has a Zubat. That was easy for Luxio anyway. Although Luxray is a fan favorite of the Sinnoh region, it really isn't that great competitively, and I might replace it with a Raichu later in my playthrough, depending on if I can find a Thunderstone conveniently enough in the Grand Underground one day. So the man gives you the Works Key, and you'll see what that's for in a little bit, as well as a jar of honey. In the Sinnoh region, to find certain Pokemon, you have to slather honey on certain trees that look like this, and come back to it after about a half a day or so to find certain Pokemon. And there are some Pokemon that you can only find by doing that. The rarest one of which is Munchlax. Except I think you can get Munchlax in the Grand Underground in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So really what you need to worry about is finding a female Combi to get a Vespiquen. You can also use honey in places where wild Pokemon can spawn to instantaneously start a wild Pokemon encounter. I like to use that in the Great Marsh, the Safari Zone, to get certain Pokemon that appear in outbreaks there. This one has a Glameow. After you beat him, he runs right into the Valley Windworks building and locks the door. I'm gonna do some grinding, and then I'm gonna show him the error of his ways. In the process, my bee-doof became a bee-barrel. I'm just gonna stuff him in my storage system. And not interface with it again. And I caught a Pachirisu. This region's Pikachu clone. Shellos, another Pokemon you can get here. And Buizel, another Pokemon that you can find here. I'm probably gonna use Floatzel for a little bit in my playthrough. Alright, here's where you need the works key. You just open the door, and you can go right in and whoop Team Galactic. Just make sure you're prepared. You're in for a very difficult battle here. That one just has a Cascoon. That one has a Wurmple and a Glameow. Alright, so do you remember how I said there's a really difficult battle here? This is one of the Team Galactic commanders. I just love how they named her Mars, even though Mars is supposed to be a reference to the male gender. And in fact, I think they changed her name to Venus in certain regions. She opens with a Zubat. That's not going to be a threat at all. And then she has a Purugly. Such a nasty Pokemon to battle against at such an early point in the game. And believe me, it means business. Fake out is just one offense. And even though low sweep is a promise to drop the opponent's speed, it's not nearly enough to make it count. I shouldn't have used low kick here. And it also has a berry, not to mention. How is a fat freak like you so fast, huh? And it's still not down. Once I get my inner focus Lucario, you've had it, miss. Alright, so I finally whooped her. And that was not a fun battle at all. Right, so, we saved the Valley Windworks. After so, we can progress upward and head off to where we're supposed to go next, Eterna City. See? Path's all clear. Alright, now there is an extremely important Pokemon encounter at the Valley Windworks that you can get from there, and that's Drifloon. One appears outside of the Valley Windworks as an interactable wild encounter every Friday. And it will only appear on Fridays. And believe me, it was a hellhole to try to catch. You're probably not going to catch it with a Great Ball. So I had to do a lot of soft resetting until I finally caught it. It's important to do that because the only in-game trainers that even have one are in Fantina's gym. So if you skip the trainers in that gym, you have to wait until Friday before you can find Drifloon, and in turn qualify for the National Pokédex. That camper down there has a Ponyta. That's a bit of a pushover. Switching out to Grottle for this hiker. He has a couple of Geodudes, a Machop, and a Bidoof. Like I said, I taught my Zubat pluck. See what this Aroma lady has. Just a Badoo. Another reason I'm favoring Crobat over Staraptor is because the Crobat line doesn't have to worry about the Poison Point ability. So it can take on the Roserade line without having to worry about getting poisoned. That camper just has a Geodude. It was bad that I opened with Luxio there. I want Grottle to lead for this hiker. He just has an Onix. And then we have a Battle Girl. She just has a Machop. My, do I need to get that Zubat evolved? I just love how the directional controls have to be precise with your inputs, or else you run into a wall. This Picnicker just has a Piplup. There are some items and berries we can get down here. Let me go see what they are. This picnicker has a Shanks and a Pachirisu. I explained already how annoying Pachirisu is. Those pipes you see on the side of this route are supposed to be airflows, connecting the overworld and the underground so people can breathe while they're exploring in the underground. One of the key points of the Sinnoh region. Can't fool me that easily. That was obviously there for a reason. See this house here? There's a woman in it that will allow you to rest up and restore your Pokemon like at a Poke Center. How nice. He's not a trainer, I see. So it's into the Eterna Forest we go. You meet this woman named Cheryl that wants you to team up with her. The first of one of the quests you do with another person in this region. You will encounter double battles with wild Pokemon and a lot of different trainers, and in between battles, your Pokemon are instantaneously restored, which is really nice. For double battles, Cheryl will use a Chansey. You see that over here on this side? That's the Mossy Rock, which shows you that this is the place where you would evolve an Eevee into a Leafeon. This is true even in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Normally, I confront the trainers individually as single battles. However, you have to fight these as a double battle. And guess what Pokemon the last has? Pachirisu. And it traumatized my Luxio at the start. The Bugcatcher has a Wurmple, a Silcoon, and a Beautifly. Not nearly as troublesome. Down here we have a couple of Psychics. I'll take them on solo. They both have an Abra, same level. So. I caught a Bunnery. For the double battles, you can only try to catch a Pokemon if there's one target. So you have to knock out one of them, and then try to catch the other, hoping Cheryl doesn't knock it out. Or come back here later after the quest is complete so you can take him on solo. We got bug catchers. That one had a Burmy and a Kricketune. That one was a reiteration of the one that had the whole Beautifly line, except with Cascoon and Dustox. Looks like we're fighting more psychics. That one had a Meditite. Bite's not going to do much on it since it's part fighting type. And that one has a Psyduck. Alright, so, see what we got up here. Some honey. I guess we're gonna leave off then. We've helped Cheryl out of the forest. We're almost at Eterna City. You can come back there after you deal with the gem to get some items. You think there'd be an item there? This one's not a trainer. The others are. This one just has a Goldine. This guy is a royal pain. He has the nerve to come at you with a full party of level 10 Magikarps, and they only know Splash. Like, seriously, is that even worth it at all? And this one has a couple of Magikarps and a Goldine. And that's all the trainers on this route, really, so... Let's... There's some berries up here as well. I'm gonna take them. And now, we enter Eterna City. This is where the next gem is. As you advance from what turns out to be a headquarters, you meet the most iconic character of the Sinnoh region by far, Cynthia. And she gives you the move Cut. After you beat the gem in this city, you can use it to cut down certain trees, like the ones you see just at that building. Cynthia's awesome. Definitely one of my favorite non-Pokemon characters in the franchise. And I think a lot of you guys feel the same way. This lady sells you high-quality medicine in the form of the herbs and powders. Avoid using them as much as possible. They're extremely bitter, and they'll make your Pokemon dislike you. And here's that solid gold statue of what looks like a fusion of Dialga and Palkia, a form that never actually saw the light of day. Instead, they get primal forms, similar to Arceus. Primal Dialga looks pretty awesome. No, not Primal. I'm thinking of Groudon and Kyogre. Origin forms. That look like Arceus. Origin the ILCA looks pretty cool. Origin Palkia looks like a centaur without arms, and honestly looks kind of weird. That hiker has a Geodude and an Onix. That cave goes to Mount Coronet, though it's not exactly where you need to go next. It's not where you need to go next at all. We'll worry about that later in the game. And down here we have a bird keeper. She just has a hoot-hoot. It'd probably be easier for me to find one if I started playing the game at night, so... Taunt. Definitely not a move I'm gonna use. I'm not gonna focus that much on catching Pokemon anymore. I'm just gonna catch Pokemon that I end up not knocking out while grinding, and move on from there. Curious about the blank spots, I go into the grass to check for hidden items. There is one in that one. Yeah. There's also one I didn't even realize while recording. And then I caught a Meditite. It's about here as well where you can find Ponyta, I think. And if you're not doing a Chimchar playthrough, in the original Diamond and Pearl, Ponyta is literally the only fire type you can get before the National Pokédex. Even in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl with the new Grand Underground, you can get Houndoom, and that's literally it as well. Maybe I'll use a Houndoom in this playthrough, after I feel like going back to the game to do some more heavy-duty grinding. This woman gives you a Pokechap, the friendship checker. This would be what you would need to do to check your Pokemon's affection in the original Diamond and Pearl. In Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, however, it only shows you their Pokemon Amy-esque affection, which develops automatically as you use them in battle. It's not the same as the kind of happiness Pokemon that evolve like that need to hit in order to evolve. There's the bike shop, though you can't get a bicycle until you deal with Team Galactic in there, which is after you beat the gym. We're gonna take on the gym in a moment. Just let me do some more grinding and looking for stuff. I wanted to evolve my Zubat into a Golbat before I did so. So, here you go. After I recorded this base video, I evolved into a Crobat as well. So I got one of the Pokemon I wanted to use. Here's the underground guy. After you talk to him, he gives you the Explore Kit and shows you the Grand Underground and how to use it. This is an extremely useful key item, and one of the best parts, if not the best part, about the Sinnoh region. And Roark is down here, and he gives you some info as well. Mining items out of the walls remains. However, traps are not in the game since you got docked mode, and secret bases have been downgraded severely, with the only decorations being the Pokemon statues. Rather, the main focus is the sheer number of different Pokemon, and strong Pokemon at that you can find in the Grand Underground. This dude trades you your Buizel for his Chatot. I just so happen to have another Buizel on me that I'll go ahead and do. You need to do this in-game trade, because it's the only way you can get shit taught in these games. There's usually a Pokemon that you can only get by doing an in-game trade. This is it in the Sinnoh region. The old man below him in the same building is the nickname Raider. And there's an old woman that gives you the move Recycle. Alright, let's start taking on the gym now. Alright, so, this is a grass-type gym. This would be pretty bad for you if you were doing a Piplup playthrough. What you need to do in this gym, it's basically hide and seek. You need to look for a trainer that's well hidden in the maze, and battle them. Beating them will make the next one appear in sequence. Some of them can be hard to find. This first one has a Cherubi and a Roselia. Now let's look for the next one. It's here. She just has 3 Budews. A Staravia would have been under risk of the poison point ability. Golbat does not have that to worry about. See what I'm getting at here? Alright, the other ones are gonna be on the other side of the maze. So, let's head there. She's here. She just has a Turtwig. One more trainer we have to find and battle before we face the gym leader. And you saw she's right there above. Let's see what this beauty has. She just had a Roselia. After you beat her, you can finally confront the gym leader. I'm gonna do some more grinding and get Golbat 1 more level before I take her on, and then we'll go. Alright, so now we're gonna confront Gardenia, the mistress of grass and plant Pokemon. Hey, I was swift. You're the one that didn't want to appear until I beat all the other trainers in the gym. Alright, so let's beat Gardenia. Her first Pokemon is a Cherubi. That's not going to be a problem. Then she has a Turtwig. And then her Ace Pokemon, which is the one you really need to worry about, her Roserade. The Roserade is tough. And as grass types go, it's got some setup moves that can hinder you easily. I stole the citrus berry. That's not going to cut it, though. Because, you know, stun spore to paralyze you. First, I kind of pansied out and used a paralyze heal on him. Which I probably shouldn't have done. Because Super Potion restores the Roserade completely. And it's just gonna do that all over again. Observe. Why did I even bother? So I kinda had to hope and pray that Golbat wouldn't be stalled with the paralysis into not being able to move. Cause she had another Super Potion just then. Alright, that's not going to help much. It's a lighter Pokemon that's quad resistant against grass. Fortunately, luck was on my side, and I was able to move despite being paralyzed. So with that, we have beaten Gardenia. And we can get her gym badge. Why are you so gleeful about losing, huh? Alright, so the Forest Badge will allow us to use the move Cut outside the battle. Traded Pokemon up to level 30 will also now obey us. And then we're gonna get some stickers for grass effects and technical machines for grass knots, which is a move that does more damage on the opponent the heavier they are. That's where I'm gonna leave off on this episode, and I'll be using the Explorer Kit to do some serious level grinding. So, we'll leave off from there until the next episode. Consider subscribing, or at least checking out my channel if you like any of the franchises listed, because I play and talk about them a lot, and want to continue doing so for my channel. I am a hobbyist artist that makes fan art to different game characters and franchises I like, and will occasionally come out with Let's Plays of mostly retro games I have that I feel like are worth playing for sport on my channel. I have quite a lot in mind, so consider checking me out if you are interested. I'll come out with the next episode of this playthrough in about a week, and stay tuned for other kinds of gaming content as well. I am Crolister, Master of Ponage. Thanks for watching, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys very soon.